Hello guys, welcome to another trade recap. Today we got some longs on NQ and ES, similar to yesterday, but let me just go ahead and explain why I took the longs today, and actually I kind of like fade out the double break on ES and NQ today. So let me go ahead and open up the higher time frame tab over here. So this is pretty much Asia, London, and New York currently down now, but I was just looking for that continuation after seeing the price actually hold this range above the price section of the week. On ES, I was looking, for that continuation higher on ES and also on NQ. But the other reason I was looking for longs was because during the week I was eyeballing this fair value gap over here. I was eyeballing this daily fair value gap that we had above, and I was like, you know what, bro? We have this above. I think this might act as a magnet from price. Price might want to reach there. Not sure if we want to reach it today or next week. I don't know, but I think that might be a good magnet to aim towards too. You know. Now with that said, let me just go ahead and all change the tab over here to NQ. So this is the first trade that I took today on NQ. By the way, all the trades that I'm taking on NQ are on my Lucid account, and the trades that I take on ES and yeah, pretty much on ES are on my Top Step account and on my Ignite, just to have that difference over here. So this was the first trade. I traded the break in retest. So we broke this initial opening range over here, then we traded back, and I did wait a little bit longer. Again, not that long like yesterday, but I just wait a couple minutes just to see if we can actually hold BWAP, because I knew the double break was in play over here. So I just wanted to wait a little bit just to see if we can actually hold BWAP and play the longs. Now, if you try to trade the break and retest on ES, I don't think I actually give a signal. I don't recall. No, it didn't. Okay, so yeah, we can discard that. But yeah, I wanted to see if we can push past the highs again. And news came in actually, and I pretty much closed the trade once we got above this level over here to pretty much like opening range high. So I got this. I closed it manually though, which my initial target was here. So I pretty much closed the trade before we got to the target, but I was able to get the small scope, and also news came in. And to be honest, I was not aware of that news were coming in at 10 a.m. So I was, you know what, bro, I'm out. Let me just reassess and see what's gonna be the next move. And then that's when the real move that I was looking for came in, which was after. Well, you wanna call this a failed double break? I guess it is, bro. Because of news, you were able to trade it again on this candle closure over here, back to opening range low, something like this. But again, since I was looking for longs, I was not really looking for shorts. Then also on ES, we finally broke the range lower, and now I need to jump to the ES because this trade I took this trade first, then the other trade on NQ. So once we broke low, I was like, "Bet, bro, okay, I like this. We're sweeping some lows. We are going back to previous days BWAP." And then the main thing that I saw, it was that we actually went back and pushed towards point of control, and we bounced from point of control. We closed above this BWAP. Now we're closing above Valeria High, and now we're closing above overnight in New York BWAP. So once I saw this close over here, I kind of wait because I was, bro, like that's not a that's not a good close. So I'm gonna just actually just wait a couple seconds, and then I got into this candle over here. That's true, huh? Yeah, on that level. And then again, I pretty much just targeted the previous day's highest level from there. I took this trade on the Ignite and on my top step. So pretty much took this trade. I was looking for these highs. I mentioned that we had the daily fair value gap all the way over here. But again, um, I was not actually planning to target this. If I'm being honest, I just wanted to get out structure. And the next level was pretty much opening range high and the previous day's price level. So I just decided to take my profits right there and just pretty much run. There was a possible ad in here, but my risk was already like $300 on this trade. So I was like, you know what? That's enough risk. I did thought of actually adding a contract over here, but it's Friday. Not pushing it too much. It's been a kind of slow, choppy week for me. So this last 2 days that have been like I actually had an opportunity to have decent trades. I'm just gonna take the opportunity and just run, bro. For so yeah, slowly healing my accounts back. I'm really happy with the executions from today. And then let me just go back to NQ because then we have, or this is not, this is just a markup. I did not actually took this trade. This was the trade that I took. So I actually was looking for the longs already, like I mentioned in the previous trade. And since I'm executing on two platforms, I missed the entry on this account too, because initially I was planning to take the trade on ES, um, also on my Lucid account, but I missed the entry because I executed on TradingView and then I jumped to Top Step X. So I kind of, like in the moment I kind of forget about it. So I just waited for the pullback, liked the pin over here, and I was like, you know what, bro, I'm really liking the longs really close above DB Wops. Let me just long this bitch. And yeah, I pretty much long it on this pin, and I pretty much exited once we target this. We close. Well, we cross this highs over here, because if you really zoom in, we actually form perfect equal highs, bro, with previous days highs. And I was like, bro, this actually looks really good for the longs. So yeah, that was the reason I actually took the long on the pin and did not look for an actual like turn like at 1026. So this could be the other entry, which pretty much is the same price, right? But I just really like the longs today, bro. Like after seeing this, like for example on EQ, we went all the way to barrier low, bounced from it, close above point of control, close above barrier high, and now we're testing VWAPs. I mean, I think that's a really good strong signal for me to long it. So I ended up taking my long on EQ over here. And yeah, pretty as soon as we I heard the order field order on the trading view, trading view on the TradeAway application on my other monitor, I closed all the positions. I went like I hear like order field, and then I pretty much closed my position on the S, which was pretty much at previous day's highs, and also I closed my other position on top step. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me today, guys. After this, I did not trade anything else. I was just marking up some stuff. I was seeing if we can actually bounce again from this BWAP over here, something like this. But I was actually not like really interested in that, because I mean we already completed the main idea that I had today, which was reaching the daily fair value gap, and we did it here on EQ, and we did it here on ES. So I was like, you know what, bro, this is a 4 hour, by the way, but doesn't really matter. But yeah, that was the main objective for me today, and we got our piece of the pie towards that objective today. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me today, guys. I know we haven't finished the month just yet, because I think on Monday is the 31st of August, so we still have one more day of the month to go. But still, I'm gonna do my recap of the month during the weekend, see what's actually going on, what is working, what has been not working, and I'm just gonna, put more emphasis on um if it's actually worth, in a sense, to trade a little bit more double breaks. Not really. It's because it's tough for me to actually sometimes trade double break, because I have an issue. Well, I don't, it's not an issue, but it doesn't like fit my trading style. Just like pattern trade the strategy. If I have like a clear direction that I think price might want to go, I just prefer to fade out the initial trade, because we like recently we have just been like having double breaks counter trend. So I just prefer to have a double break on trend. That's usually like my best setups that I will take every day of the week, bro. Like if we are double breaking counter trend, like on with trend, meaning that, for example, today, if we actually had a double break long, bro, that would be awesome, bro. I would take that shit all day. But we just have been like having double breaks counter trend, so I'm not like a big fan of that, unless we are actually trading back to overnight, like a pullback. That usually I take those trades. Despite the fact we're counter trading, I mean we're trading the pullback to overnight. So, you know, I guess you just depending on your trading style. So in my case, I just prefer to sometimes just fade the whole break and just go with the trend, like the trade that we had over here in the longs after, I don't know what time it was, 10:21. So yeah, I mean, really happy with the trade. Really happy with the execution. Being more patient recently, especially with these markets, bro. I think it's worth to kind of like size down and slow down a little bit, because it's been it's been really choppy, bro. But yeah, I mean, and we are surviving, right? Our risk management has been really good, I think, and we're just gonna keep it that way. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys have a nice rest of your day, and I hope you guys have a nice weekend, and see you guys all on Monday. Take care.